will literally show you the Korea that you've been wanting to see.
Time to experience the nooks and crannies of Korea's with your own to feed on
K-Patch
with Cedric.
It's a Monday, that means Sky Seti from YouTube takes his camera, films a video and brings it in on a Monday morning, and we get to share a certain aspect of Korean culture with you guys out there. And conversely, we love you to send in your pictures, your videos on the same topic. Good morning, Cedric.
Great morning, Peter.
You didn't realise it was a public holiday, and as you wandered in and no one was here, you're a bit worried that maybe we weren't here.
I was a little scared. I was like, I didn't get the memo. Great.
We are live. Lena in the morning for Good Morning Seoul was live as well. But yeah, when I was on the roads this morning, it was empty. And I was like, I like this. If it was like this every morning, no traffic, no people out there, I would be a happy bunny.
100%. The subway was nice and clear for me. I had the whole row to myself, so no complaints here.
Fantastic. Could spread out your legs and everything. Did you have a good weekend? Have you had a good 7 days since we last saw you?
Yeah. Just trying to keep dry the last 7 days and just catching up on some editing, working on some video projects, personal projects really. So
okie dokie. Yeah, the rains, I heard, it should now be the end of the rainy season.
That's what the app is telling me.
Yeah, it looks like no rain for the next few days here in Seoul and Gyeonggi. Are you going to have any plans to do anything that the rain was stopping you from doing, Cedric?
Not so much this week. This week is going to be more so focusing on, the normal video editing, and then I'm also going to be picking up Korean studies. So definitely for sure, just picking up the gear on that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's what this week is going to look for me. So
As
indoors.
You're going to be studying Korean more intensely.
Yes, I have to, I just have to.
If you're going to live here long term, Cedric, yeah, I definitely recommend. Are you going to try it just like online for the time being? Or?
Well, actually, I just signed up for a Korean hagwon near where I live. And as a matter of fact, Becky and I are going to be doing the same hagwon. And we're going to be doing the same class.
Wow.
Now, if you guys don't know, Becky is totally fluent. She's advanced level fluent.
But she's doing it as well with you.
Yes. That way, so I could catch up quickly. So it's going to be very painful for me, but I'm willing to take up the challenge.
That's very considerate of her not to race off into the distance and go into a more advanced class. But yeah, I was going to say online, I'm sure it's great. And we've got Korean on our lineup on a Tuesday. But I went to an Arirang, one of the institutes at the universities, and I was blown away by how much more effective it is.
Sure.
If there's a course and someone's bugging you to do your homework and stuff, then it's much quicker, I think, the progress. Good luck with that,
Thank you.
I'm sure it'll be no time at all before you are doing this whole thing in Korean.
Absolutely.
And our listeners will be left confused. We've got some Korean listeners as well. Minnie Kim is on board saying, 안녕하세요, 여러분. 안녕하세요 to you
안녕하세요.
as well, Minnie. We've got Hinata, who's here too, Metal Z-Boy. And today's hashtag, before we get into our video topic, is preciousness or 소중함. What are the most precious things to you, Cedric? We've been asking people to do their top 3, and it can be funny or it can be deep and meaningful. Take it whichever way you want.
Oh, wow, sure. Okay, so here's an easy one. My main camera is probably number 3.
As a videographer, that's very precious to you, right?
Yes. Number 2 are my taste buds because I love eating. And eating is to me a source of entertainment.
Of course.
So at least 3 times a day, I am, bound to be entertained by something.
That's fantastic. I never thought of that answer, but I love food as well. Imagine if you couldn't taste anything.
Oh, man, life would just be black and white for me.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? It would be like that. It would be bland. But I have some friends who just don't enjoy eating at all.
Right.
I'm like, why are you alive? I don't mean to offend you, but this is my joy every day.
Exactly. And I would say my number 1, and we'll get a little deep here, are my digitized home videos from when I was a child, which are on my hard drive.
You got them onto a digital format,
yeah,
did you?
I years ago I did that. And so, if you guys have seen some of my videos, I've incorporated those throughout some of those videos, but Yeah, that's like the number one most precious thing. If my house caught on fire, that would be the one thing I would save.
Oh man, those memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't get them back. Digitized old home videos. I wonder if any of our listeners have that kind of thing, and we'll put it in their list. Tofu said something precious to me is Wi-Fi, because without it, I wouldn't be able to watch Daily K or new music videos.
It's a good one.
Is the case for many of our listeners. Without Wi-Fi, you wouldn't be tuned in. Thank you for the message. Let's get on to today's topic then, Cedric. What have you brought us?
Well, we're going to play some indoor baseball.
Oh, indoor baseball. Were you a big baseball guy growing up in the States? I know it's a big sport there.
Sure. I wasn't huge, but I did have my moments where I wanted to play baseball. And I remember, funny story, when I was in middle school, 7th grade, I tried out for our middle school baseball team.
Okay.
All right. And only 15 could make the cut on the team.
Yep.
And there were 16 people that tried out.
Oh, no.
I didn't make the cut.
Oh dear.
I was the one person that didn't make the cut.
Why?
I don't know.
Surely you can't have been the only one who wasn't good enough.
I was the worst one.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but everyone else had experience organizationally, whereas I never had experience. I just sort of played around, played catch. So that's my traumatizing story there.
How does it work in the States? Like, if you're not on the team, does that mean you don't even get to like practice during your physical education time playing baseball, or you do get a bit of experience?
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the school, of course. But yeah, some schools do incorporate baseball in the PE, which is separate from organized team baseball, of course. And so, yeah, that one's not as competitive.
Yeah.
And as organized. But yeah, I mean, I've had the chance to just sort of play in the neighborhood here and there.
Okie dokie. In Korea, then, baseball is a hugely popular spectator sport, especially.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I'm not sure how many people play it, although I do know some friends who do like a weekend team kind of thing. But going and watch it, I think, is way more popular than like soccer and even basketball and stuff like that. Obviously, pre-COVID-19 times. We should give an update on that, because there were quite a few fans going to the stadiums, but not anymore, right?
Right. In which we're going to update you on all the changes. Seems like there's changes every week, and there was a recent change, I think, like 2 days ago.
Yes.
With the new outbreaks, and so I'll fill you guys in on that. But the first video is going to be me having never attended a baseball game in Korea. I got to experience the next best thing, which is indoor screen baseball. So I'm going to show you guys a local baseball place in Hongdae and show you how it works. So let's watch.
I've not been to indoor baseball. I've done indoor golf. I've done the batting cage outdoors in Korea.
Sure. So I would say it's probably a combination of the two.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done any of those either, but it seems that it's a combination of the two. So this is pretty much you're just going in, and I'm just going to show you the atmosphere.
So it just looks like any kind of those bang cultures, room culture in Korea, where you've just got a corridor with lots of rooms off to the side. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
So the price is for an hour, 37,001, 20 minutes, 15,001. So not too bad. Yep, and of course you have your snacks, you have your beer, which is an important part of Korean baseball culture, from what I hear.
Drinking and eating while you're watching.
Right.
This is taking it up to another level, though. You're playing as well here,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So this is our room or our gate here, and of course you can order snacks.
From the room as well. I see there's an intercom there.
Yep.
And
then
wow.
that's the actual room.
That's the playing field, so to speak.
Right. So she's just setting us up with our teams, and of course we're on different teams.
Oh, so you battle it out against each other?
We do. We do.
Nice.
Yep, and so of course, as a gentleman, I let Becky go first as she's warming up.
She's ready to toss the first pitch at a K-pop place. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're gonna see in the second corner who fares out on top.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know the setup there, and I guess I didn't think about this, but in screen golf, which has been around for way longer, and I think is more popular until this point, there's no barrier between the person hitting the balls and then the seating area. It's just one big room kind of thing. But the difference there, I'm guessing, we haven't seen it yet, but because the balls might fly out at you, there needs to be a barrier, right?
Yeah,
just in case.
Absolutely.
And so you sit behind the glass kind of watching the other person.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're allowed to go in there, but I don't know why you would.
Maybe not advisable.
Yeah, and actually, I sort of peeked in for a couple of shots, as you'll see in the second corner, but I probably shouldn't have done that.
Risking your life for Daily K. Thank you so much. So that's another aspect of Korean culture, I suppose we could say, is that we have loads of things in basements here in Korea.
Yeah.
In the UK, there's not too many things that you'd have in basements. Probably bars and clubs are the most popular thing.
Sure.
But here, a lot of those indoor golf places as well are down in the basement because you don't need any natural light and stuff like that, right?
Right. As a matter of fact, at my own building where I live, they have an indoor screen golf.
Down in the basement level.
Down the basement level.
Yeah, lots of norebangs as well I've seen in the basement, the singing rooms and stuff like that. And so, I don't know, when I first came, I'd get a little claustrophobic, like going down there because it's like a long staircase. And then if you don't like not seeing natural light, you're like a bit, ugh. But once you get into the vibe, you kind of forget where you are, right?
Sure. Yeah. And it's always fun when you have a group of people, of course. Yeah. So overall, this experience was really fun for my first time. And I do think that it is a good, maybe, I don't know about first date idea, but maybe a second or third date.
Yeah.
It'd be nice and fun.
There are so many room cultures. There's something pang here that you could just do your dating for like 6 weeks, each weekend going to a different room, and you wouldn't run out of ideas. I think it's way easier to date here than in other countries.
100% agreed.
In terms of like corona stuff, I saw the assistant was wearing a mask. Were there any other precautions that you had to go through?
So, I was looking out for it because I wanted to definitely report on it, if you will. But, I mean, they had the hand sanitizer there, and the rooms naturally are separated. So if you come in with a group, of course, you're going to be closed off from another room.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, you're completely, I guess, quarantined in a way.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that after each use that the employees are wiping down the bats and all the areas, but I'm not sure if they're doing that.
That would be
I would
nice.
like to hope that they are.
Yeah, and I guess there must have been some hand sanitizer about that you could like use.
There wasn't actually one in the gate, to be honest.
That would be sensible, right?
Yeah,
if there was one inside. And I'm quite surprised because there's hand sanitizer everywhere in Korea at the moment.
Right.
That might be one of the only places we haven't seen it, right? And apparently there's an application that you can link.
Yeah, so I was trying to get it to work. I could not figure it out, which is why I couldn't show you guys. But you can download an app of the actual brand or company that owns the screen baseball. And that little machine that you saw in the video, you can actually scan a QR code.
Yeah.
And what it will do is after the game, you can download all of the videos that it recorded of you because there are cameras set up inside.
It records videos.
It does. And so sometimes, like if you're hitting the ball and you get a good play, it'll record you and your reaction. So it's really fun. So I was trying to figure that out. I couldn't, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah.
It is an option.
Maybe not too many English language options for doing that, but that sounds brilliant. And maybe you could keep a track of your score through those apps as well. We'll talk more about screen baseball. Tell us about that, about baseball in general, or any indoor sports you may have in your countries. This one really fitting. Got7's Home Run. We're back for part 2 of K-Patch with Cedric in the studio. The topic this week through his videos is screen baseball. I'm getting my first look of these indoor facilities and it looks fun. I wonder if I could take my kids along. The bats would be too big for a start, I feel, but even just to watch while Daddy has fun, maybe they'll like that.
Maybe that's torture for them, I don't know.
Perhaps they'd want to jump in, right? Our hashtag of the day is also preciousness or 소중함. We got a couple more messages for that. Kimmy says, my hearing is probably my most precious of my senses. That's interesting, Kimmy. It's not often people choose hearing like over sight and things like that, right?
Right, yeah. Obviously, I chose my taste over hearing, but hearing is very important.
This is true, especially on the radio with our headphones on. Without our hearing, we'd be nowhere.
100%. Subin from Thailand says, something precious to me are books because without them, I wouldn't have learned English or even Korean from the books. And I tell you what, you and Becky, my girlfriend, would be very close friends because she also loves books.
It's a great resource for information.
100%.
If you say, I read this book by this author, it makes you sound really smart. Like, even if I read a book, I don't remember the title or the author, so I'm just like, in some book somewhere, I heard blah, blah, blah. Doesn't sound as good at all.
I mean, you could just make it up. Who would know?
This is true. That thing by Cedric Stout, that piece of literature, was absolutely marvellous.
There we go.
Lewis says, I'd also love to do a Korean language course in Korea like you, Cedric. Progress, I reckon, would definitely go up tenfold. Whiting for Cedric.
Oh, thank you.
You're going to be reading books in that, I assume, like some textbooks and stuff.
I hope so. You know, honestly, I think I will get better quickly. I have to.
I'm sure you will. We got loads of baseball-related messages.
Yep. Siska says, baseball is not a big sport here, so I never watched any baseball game, but football, badminton, and basketball. Football as in soccer, I assume.
Oh,
what we
indoor.
call soccer in the States. Yeah. And basketball is popular here.
I guess you can't have like indoor American football. That would be quite testing.
Well, you do have them.
Oh,
yeah, there are
really?
indoor leagues. Yeah,
What-
not nearly as popular, of course, but
Is it like the same size and scale, but just done in a gym or something?
I'm not sure if it's the same size scale. They still have a turf field.
Oh,
Yeah.
inside.
Inside in a little stadium, but the stadiums are not as big.
Oh,
of course.
that's interesting. America's got everything. That's quite cool. Leon says, for me, I'm just going to stick to my old Nintendo Wii to play indoor baseball. I remember that game where it's just a cartoon character and you swing that virtual controller.
Right. It's fun, but it doesn't quite feel realistic because you're not hitting anything. You know?
No, although it wasn't terrible because it used to vibrate and it used to make a tock sound, I remember. But I'm sure that's not the same as hitting a real home run.
Right. Raul says, baseball, not here, but we have the world champions of softball in Argentina.
Really?
Ooh.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Congrats on your country. That's awesome.
Do they play softball as well in the States? Because you've got baseball, right, which is the more hardcore version.
Right. Yeah, they do play softball.
Oh.
Yeah, and the irony is, of course, the ball is not so soft. It's bigger and it's quite hard. So
why is it? Maybe it's softer than a baseball? I don't know.
I don't think so. I
Really?
mean, I've held a softball before, and as a matter of fact, women sports in the States typically they play softball.
Yeah, I've not really
Typically.
seen pro female baseball players. There must be like a higher level of it. Yeah, but softball
Right.
in the UK we've got rounders as opposed to baseball,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't even know how big the ball is, but the bat is really short. It's much shorter than a
okay.
baseball bat.
Yeah.
And it's kind of dying a death, I think, at the moment. As is this sport, maybe. Tofu from the UK says netball is a good indoor sport. Have you heard of netball?
Netball, no.
See, people in the UK, we know this because we play this during physical education, and it's our version of basketball. There's no backboard, and once you have the ball, you can only pivot. You can't move with it.
Oh,
And
so you
pe-
can just stand in place.
Yeah, and
just...
then the other players can run around,
I
and you have
see.
to pass to them. And people who I've told and have watched this, like, that's just a rubbish version of basketball. I used to play, I was wing attack, and you can only go in certain areas depending on your position. You
see.
can't cross lines. You're looking at me like basketball is far superior. I will agree with you, Cedric.
Awesome. Metal Z Boy says indoor baseball, too many broken windows. And yeah, you would think so, but we'll see if we broke any windows
There
while
was
we played.
was that glass to partition things off?
There was a glass.
Is it
It was
safe?
glass. That's what I was asking. I mean, there was a little mat as well in front of the glass, I guess, to minimize impact. In case I don't think the ball would ever actually hit the glass.
It's hard for it to get to that angle.
I think so.
Yeah, but I guess it would make more sense if it's just metal mesh the whole way through, but you couldn't see as clearly, I suppose,
Right.
in there. Josh Lee also saying, I would so be doing this indoor screen baseball, and I would be smashing them.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I thought when I first went into a batting cage here in Korea. There's one in Gangnam, like, they're often in nightlife spots, and maybe you've had a drink and you're like, yeah, let's go try it. I was like, I'm going to smash these. I think I hit like 2 out of 10 balls. It's not as easy
Yeah.
as it looks at all.
Maybe it was the couple of drinks you might have had before. Who
Probably
knows?
made me much worse.
Yeah, and Cam says, so even the ball is just animated, unlike the batting cages with real balls. Well, Cam, you will see that actually they are using real balls in the screen baseball. You'll see how it works in this next video. And
Okay.
so we'll go ahead and watch it.
I want to check it out. I want to see your batting skills.
Yep,
So it's got a proper scoreboard,
It
like a real
does.
game.
All right,
Okay.
so here we go.
Where's the ball coming from?
You see the center little hole, you see the pitcher, and bam.
Oh my goodness. That's pretty quick, no?
Yeah, and so
Nice.
Becky's first hit right there, but she's
Yes.
out. She didn't make it to the base, unfortunately.
Oh, so it judges where your ball goes
It
as well.
does, which is pretty cool, and it's quite accurate.
You're left-handed, Cedric.
I am left-handed.
Oh, so you're batting from the other way.
Yeah.
Do you have to run?
No, you don't. And of course, you have the speakers that makes
the
it sound like
screen
you're there.
noise.
Yeah,
So this is optional, the running.
it is.
So the person on the screen will like run for you, I assume.
Right. So it's like you're playing an actual video game in real form.
And it just measures where your ball is going. Did she really
Right.
get a home run?
She did.
Wow.
So you see that screen there? It just stops the impact.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right, and so we're gonna see who won
That looks like
this
good
game,
fun.
and
Who was Kium?
well, you'll
Come
see
on,
in a
Cedric,
second.
Please be you. The winner is.
Congratulations.
So Becky won this.
She beat you.
Yeah,
Cedric,
she beat me
come
by
on.
2 points. She actually had, I think, 3 total home runs
Wow.
in this game. I had 0.
You know, so
I just had base runs.
the balls all come out of that little hole.
Yeah.
Are they all coming out pretty much the same, did you feel?
You know, I think so.
It's not like they're curveballs. and
Right.
stuff like that.
If anything, it might have been a height difference, but
Okay.
yeah, it's probably the same. And I think you can choose your level as well.
Okay, so because that looked pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Lee is saying on the chat, from my baseball experience, it looks about 65 miles an hour.
Is that fast for baseball or is that slow,
I
medium?
think like the fastest pitches, don't they go 100-ish or maybe
yeah,
more?
I know they're in the 90s for
Yeah,
sure.
not quite double, but still. Yeah, it looked really fast. Like, I wonder if they have a lower setting for me so I could have a chance. I don't think I'd be hitting many of those balls.
Yeah.
Is the measurement, did you feel like it's quite accurate where the ball goes? Because it like
I think
depicts
so.
it on screen.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
because if you hit it and the ball goes to the left of the room, it's going to depict on the screen that it's like either a foul ball or the left side of the field. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So it makes it feel quite realistic. So I can see how addictive this can possibly get for a lot of people.
There's no pitching that you can do. You don't like throw the ball at the screen.
No, it's all batting.
That would
batting.
be fun. I reckon they could like do that as well, because just measuring where the ball's going, surely just by throwing it, they could measure it as well.
Right.
And then you could have a little game, a little one-on-one thing. Did you enjoy it, honestly?
Honestly, yes, I did. And I would totally go back.
Did it bring back painful memories,
Oh,
having
man.
lost to Becky as
A
well?
little bit, yeah. Yeah, but baseball is definitely not my thing, or really anything dealing with sports. I just like to pick up heavy things in the gym and just
Okay.
do a couple reps, and that's my thing. That's it.
Maybe you could work out some exercises just with a bat somehow, swinging
Right.
it around or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of which, they did have different size bats, and so they had like shorter bats and that are a little bit lighter, and then a couple of longer bats, but they are all metal bats.
And you don't clean up the baseballs on the floor? Do they just
No.
accumulate?
They
throughout-
just accumulate, and then I guess the worker after there was this little tool that was in the room. I think
Okay.
they just kind of scrape up all the balls from the floor.
How long were you playing for overall?
So we hit about right under 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we wanted to do the 20-minute one,
Yeah.
and we didn't keep track of time really well.
What
So-
happens then? I was going to say, is there a time limit or is it the number of innings just has to be completed?
Right. We were playing till the end of the innings, and we thought it was just going to give us okay, you're done, time's
Yeah.
up, but it keeps going. That's how they get you.
And then you pay the extra when you
Right.
leave.
And it's not too bad, not too much extra.
I see. That's really interesting. I've seen like one-off, not the baseball, but other virtual sports like that with that little LCD screen that you push and do at some of the VR arcades here. They've got like soccer where there's a ball and you can get it at the screen and stuff like that. But in its own little house, in its own little room like that, I think it might work out cheaper than playing one-off games at the VR arcade where it's a bit
Right.
of a premium, right? That's not bad at all, is it? Metal Z-Boy saying, a real sport's not cool anymore. Do we have to do virtual ones? As a sports fan and a real soccer player as well, I would hate it if that was the case in the future.
Yeah.
But maybe
yeah.
the new generation, they're going to like this more than going outside.
Perhaps. But yeah, there's nothing like the real thing when it comes to sports for sure.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Let's get to more of your messages and we'll tell you about the Korean baseball protocol as well in part 3 after some Yoon Jong-shin and Yoonha, Batgirl. A very much related song there. Batgirl, Yoon Jong-shin and Yoonha. I don't think talking about like the equivalent to Batman, but really talking about baseball. I heard some crowd cheering in the background. Although Batgirl would be fine as well.
Yeah.
Was it Batgirl or was it Batwoman? Like the official name?
I think it was Batgirl. And
what?
then there was a Catwoman.
Catwoman, that's the
Yeah.
one I'm thinking of. Halle Berry, I think, played that role back in the 90s, maybe. I saw some pictures, or what was she was doing some really fun activities. I think she's in maybe late 40s or 50s now and still amazing lady. Let's read some messages linked to more indoor stuff. Faz from Malaysia says, I've only played futsal, indoor football, before. I think that counts, right? Absolutely. But these are not ones with screens that a lot of you are talking about. That's like the new future or frontier, I suppose.
Yes, that's what it's looking like. Kevin Leonard says another casualty of COVID-19 in 2020 is minor league baseball. MLB, or Major League Baseball, is able to play with empty stadiums, but minor league sports needs paying customers to be profitable. Without them, there's no reason. Smaller field for indoor football, since it's in arenas that host hockey and basketball.
That's the explanation for the indoor American football. Oh, no minor league baseball at all then. I hope the players are making ends meet. I saw, we did a story, Cheshin Su, I believe, was donating some money to the minor league baseball players in his team, because that can be their only source of income, I suppose. Metal Z-Boy is saying, darn it, pretty soon everything will be virtual and we'll all be living in the Matrix. I'm a little bit worried about that happening and people getting too hooked onto these things as well. Did you... I've totally lost my trail of thought. I was going to say something about virtual sport. Ready Player One? Did you see that film or read the book?
No, I didn't.
So it's about everyone being given these headsets to do some education through, and then you live as an avatar, and then people just spending their entire lives on there is kind of the end game there. And I hope that doesn't happen, because the real world's quite nice. We live in a nice place. Right,
absolutely. Sci-Fi Kimmy says, is there a tennis version of this? Because I want to do that. And during the break, Peter and I were looking for a tennis version, which there are, but we don't really understand how it works.
I didn't even know that version was there. You say you saw the adverts at this place for it. Right.
So I'm assuming that this company that did the indoor screen baseball also does indoor tennis. And so I'm not sure how it works, but it is available.
Yeah,
it's an option.
We were looking at the videos, and it doesn't seem like you can play a full game where the ball keeps coming back. Every time a ball is spat out, it looks like, and you just hit it in a certain area of the court over there. Just some clarification. Apparently, rather than Chushin-Su, it might have been Kim Kwang-hyun, who plays for the St. Louis Cardinals, who was supporting some of the teams there, I believe, in the minor leagues. Siska also saying that baseball, it's kind of similar in Indonesia with kasti. The ball we use is a tennis one, and it's a stick like that. We hit it hard and run, and if the ball hits us, it can hurt a lot. That's one thing, like, you don't wear any protection, right, in these screen baseball places, like the helmets.
No,
so you just got to be careful.
I was a little worried.
Not to stand in the way. But it kind of goes to the same area every time.
Yeah, it does. And also, the balls are not real baseballs. They're a little softer to the touch.
For safety reasons, that might be a good idea.
And Sci-Fi Kimmy also says the baseball thing seems fun, and she has a funny baseball story. Even though it's been 8 years since I was in high school, my dad still goes up to my high school to watch the high school baseball team.
Wow.
Just brings a chair and watches the season.
Well, that's really nice.
That's awesome.
Him supporting his local high school team rather than you being in it, just the high school. Fantastic. We had our producer come in during the song break as well, and he told us that the baseball rooms, they can differ according to your talent as well, right?
Right. There are some rooms that are actually bigger, and they can be a little bit more advanced for the advanced or experienced players.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you can get different pitching speeds, different pitching styles as well, and you can change it in terms of how the balls are being thrown to you. But I guess with you and Becky, they could see you were the novices.
Just amateurs.
Just put them in that room. It'll be all right. Absolutely. Good stuff. In terms of Korean baseball protocol, like real baseball, because obviously they're linked, we should give an update on what's going on at the moment, right?
Yeah, so up until recently, actually from the 11th of August, the stadiums in Korea, most of the stadiums were allowing up to 25% capacity, which was way more than weeks prior, which they allowed up to 10%.
Yeah, they did like a trial run and it all seemed to be going well.
Right, and so they upped it to 25% just this past week, but now with the recent outbreaks, the stadiums, and I was just catching up on the news, the stadiums are closing back down and not letting right.
So we're back to square one, basically.
Back to square one.
Empty stadiums once again. In the Seoul and the Gyeonggi area, I've just refreshed for this morning's case numbers, and we're at 197, so less than yesterday, which was about 260. We've come back to below 200 new cases, but that's a lot. We're talking about like end of March levels now. We've gone back, it seems, due to some outbreaks at churches and other facilities. And now, once again, in Seoul, no spectators at the baseball stadiums. I'm sure baseball fans are going to be very sad. But it was very different to before. Like, you couldn't, I think, drink or eat anyway, right, in the stadiums.
Right, and of course, mask. You had to wear the mask, yeah.
Okie dokie. We got a couple of things to show from our listeners that we want to squeeze in. Josh has sent these in from the States, saying hashtag baseball, a few of my favourite team hats, and also a nosy cat wondering what I'm doing. Is that a thing in American sports, Cedric, where you can just have the memorabilia of many teams? Because in the UK, I support Arsenal. If I wore another team's shirt, I would, number one, want to really hurt myself, and other people would want to hurt me as well, I feel.
Yeah, a lot of people do like the fitted caps for like their specific team, but some people just like it for the style and the colors and the branding. And I'm noticing that there isn't New York on there, so I'm a little disappointed.
Okay, I think
Yankees.
the St. Louis Cardinals are represented there, and that picture that we were talking about earlier, Kim Kwang-hyun, is there. I've got a load of like MLB and NBA hats, and I have no idea who they are. It's just I like the look of the logo. But in the UK, I'd never do that, and not many people do that, like just for fashion.
People will get offended, of course.
It's a bit different, yeah. We've also got a video from Siska as well. This is one of the most popular indoor sports, you say. Badminton. Oh, I love a bit of badminton. I don't think we've got virtual screen badminton just yet. But a lot of courts here in Korea are outdoors as well, badminton ones, like on mountainsides and stuff.
Right.
And that looks like futsal as well. Little mini courts where maybe it's 4 or 5 a side. It's nice that you've got like proper turf there as well, it seems, on the floor. So are you not a sports guy, Cedric, in general? Like there's no one sport that you excel at or that you played a lot when you were younger?
I played a lot of basketball, but didn't excel at it.
No, don't enjoy it too much? Or
I like it, but I haven't played in a very long time. We'll put it like that.
There are lots of basketball courts here, indoor and out. I've not seen screen basketball yet, because I guess you don't really need it. It's a net indoors anyway, I suppose. What's the screen going to bring to it? Thanks very much for coming in on this day off in Korea City. We'll see you again next Monday.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good week. We've got Taiko's song request coming up first from Japan, saying, how you doing, Peter? I'd like to hear Kang Daniel's Something, and then Joey from the US. You've asked for Blackpink's How You Like That.